What should you expect once you file the one-step marriage-based green card application? That's what we're talking about on today's episode of Sumner School Family Immigration Basics. My name is Emily Sumner with Sumner Immigration Law. Let's get into it. So first of all, what is a one-step filing? Typically, when we in the immigration field say refer to a one-step filing, we're talking about the process of filing the I-130 petition and the I-485 application for adjustment of status at the same time. So most of the time when we file a one-step package like this, it's when the foreign national is in the United States and is eligible to file for adjustment of status. And most of the time, the petitioner or the spouse who is sponsoring their foreign national spouse is a US citizen. It's possible in some instances that they would be a permanent resident, but remember that's a preference category. And in that situation, the priority date would have to be current. That has happened at various points over the years, but most likely it's going to be a US citizen sponsoring their foreign national spouse for permanent residence here in the United States. So, what can you expect once you have filed this package with USCIS? The first step is you should receive receipt notices from USCIS within about 2 to 4 weeks after filing. If you're working with a lawyer, all of the communication, the receipt notices and fingerprinting notices, any communication from USCIS should come to the lawyer's office and to you as well. In our practice, when we receive mail for a client, we scan it, email it to the client, and say, this is what we received, this is what it means, this is what the next step is, or the next anticipated milestone. So receipt notices within about 2 to 4 weeks after filing, and you're going to receive a receipt notice for every single form that you filed. So you're going to receive a whole stack of receipt notices for the I-130, the I-485, the work permit, and the travel document if you filed for them. The next step in the process is biometrics, meaning fingerprinting. USCIS will probably take your fingerprints at the local field office, wherever that is for you, and that will probably happen about 6 to 12 weeks after filing. All of these timeframes, by the way, are subject to change. So they're subject to change from case to case. Every individual case is a little bit different, and processing trends change over time. So I'm recording this in May 2025, and this is what we're seeing right now. So again, fingerprinting notices about 6 to 12 weeks after, and you have to go to the local field office for that. It's not an interview. You simply go have your fingerprints taken. They may take your picture, and then that's it. The next step in the process is the travel document and the work permit. So the work permit is you use Form I-765 for that. It's also called the EAD, or the Employment Authorization Document. Typically, we're seeing that those are coming within about 6 months, could be less than that, could be more than that, but typically we're seeing about 6 months after the time that you file the one-step application. If you also file for the travel document, I'm saying if because you have the option of not submitting the I-765 or the application for the work permit and the travel document, you can file one or the other or both or none of them. And that can be a strategic decision depending on your specific facts and what you need. And sometimes people will choose not to file for those because there is an additional filing fee, a separate filing fee. So you can save a little bit of money if you don't file for those. But if you file for both of them, the work permit and the travel document, it's possible that they both will be approved at the same time. That's not likely. USCIS has said that they're separating the processing of the work permit and the travel document. And most of the time, clients will receive the work permit first, the EAD first, and then they will receive the travel document, if at all. We'll talk about that down the road. It is possible to receive what's called a combo card. That means that you receive the EAD, which is a card, and at the bottom it says something like valid for travel. So there's evidence of it basically is the approved travel document as well. So you can take a look at the bottom left corner to see if that's approved as well, and you would receive an approval notice. But more likely you'll receive just the work permit and then later receive the travel document. For the work permit, once you receive the work permit, you have to have that in hand before you actually accept employment. So for I-9 purposes, you have to have that in hand. And once you have the work permit, that's when you should receive the Social Security number as well. In recent years, for years, actually, USCIS or the Social Security Administration has sent the Social Security number automatically to the individual applicant in the mail. That is not happening right now, and you're having to go in person. But once you have the bottom line is once you have that employment authorization document, you should be eligible for the Social Security number if you don't already have one. The green card interview happens typically about, I would say, like 8 to 12 months after filing. That really varies depending on the local service center. It also depends on the specific facts of your case, of course, but that's typically what we're seeing is that you'll have the interview, the joint interview at USCIS. The purpose of that interview is for USCIS to make sure that it is a true relationship and not just for benefits of a green card. So it'll be an interview with the two of you, most likely together. They can interview spouses separately, but that is at the local USCIS service center. After the interview, most of the time, clients will receive the green card in the mail within about, I would say, within a month of the interview. That's not always the case. Sometimes it's delayed and takes longer, but typically within about a month. When you receive the green card in the mail, it can be for conditional residence or it may be a 10-year green card, depending on how long you've been married. And we'll have a separate video down the road about conditional residence and what that means and how to handle that. So I did not talk much about the travel document, and that is because sometimes the travel document is not approved. It takes so long for USCIS to process those. Sometimes USCIS will process those, let's say within about 9+ months, 6 to 9 months of filing. And then at other times, it takes so long to process those that clients actually receive the green card before they receive the travel document. And in that case, you don't need the travel document. Once you have the green card, you just use the green card to travel. But that's the reason I didn't talk a whole lot about it, because the timing can be such that you actually don't receive it. But again, it is possible that you would receive it before you actually receive the green card. And if that happens, we're seeing about the 9 to 12 month mark. It varies a lot. So, what are some reasons that your process might not fall into these estimated timelines? Because that is absolutely possible. You might be saying, Emily, oh my goodness, this is not what I'm experiencing. And that is normal. It's okay. Unfortunately, the USCIS processing times are not consistent. We see trends, and what I've talked about on this video are the current trends in terms of processing times, but there are all types of reasons that your case may fall out of the norm. One reason is if they're missing documents. If sometimes clients come to us, they have tried to file on their own and the case is rejected because it has been prepared, somehow wrong and it's been kicked back to them. Other reasons are if you receive a request for evidence, then the case would be delayed. Request for evidence means, as the name implies, USCIS is asking for additional documentation. There can be any number of reasons for that. If you change your address and you don't notify USCIS, or sometimes if you do, and USCIS doesn't change the address on their end, which is not overly common, but it happens sometimes, that can delay the process as well. Moving, we always have questions from clients, not always, but we frequently have questions from clients about if I move in the process, what happens then? That can delay the process. You have to let USCIS know. You don't have the option of just not telling them. But that can delay the process in terms of them scheduling the interview at a new local field office. Other reasons that the case may take longer than anticipated or longer than these kind of trending processing times is the USCIS, the people that handle the case are people. It's not machines, although, they can use machines to sort and everything. So, you can have a situation where the file literally gets stuck at the bottom of somebody's file, at the bottom of somebody's stack of files that they're working on. Also, the files can be routed, they are routed to the local service center for interviews. Different local service centers or local field offices have different processing times, different caseloads. So there are a number of factors that can affect this. So I'm not saying don't worry if your case is outside of processing time, but just know that there are a number of factors that can affect it that can be outside of your control. Sometimes there are things you can do, but a lot of times it's outside of your control. So I hope that you have found this information helpful. If so, I hope you'll share this video with a friend or family member and make sure that you're subscribed to our YouTube channel so you don't miss our next video. My name is Emily Sumner with Sumner Immigration Law, serving clients around the world and around the United States with family-based and employment-based immigration matters. We hope to hear from you soon.